Welcome to the Crooked Compass YouTube channel and welcome to Crooked Compass Slide Night. I'm Lisa Pagotto, the founder of Crooked Compass, and this evening with me I have my friend Ben as we take you through Georgia this evening in Europe's Far East. So with our Slide Night, we do like to go old school. We do like to look at nothing but photos, share our stories, our travel anecdotes from around the world, and get you guys thinking about new destinations that perhaps you haven't considered before. So let's go. Let's head to Georgia.
Alrighty. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here we go, the big reveal.
We're off to Georgia.
Okay, so I have a confession.
Yes.
You know the Beatles Back in the USSR song? Do you know it?
I know of it.
They talk about Georgian girls.
Okay.
And I didn't realise there was a country called Georgia.
Okay, well there's a lot
I
of
just thought it was a
people
state
who
in the
still
US.
confused.
So okay, Georgia. Let's. Can you tell us where it is first? And then
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
talk-
So Georgia, it's pretty much on the border of both Europe and Asia. Most
Okay.
people would classify it as Eastern Europe, but geographically it's actually more in Asia. So right smack bang where that sort of crossover is between Europe and Asia, and yeah, forms part of the former USSR.
And so what does it border? Borders.
So
I'm thinking Turkey.
yeah, borders
Yeah.
Turkey. It's got Armenia to the south, and Azerbaijan as well to the east.
Okay, great. And for Australian travellers, for example, how would we get that?
So the easiest way is to fly with any of the major carriers. So Emirates would be one of the easiest ways to get there via Dubai.
So more or less one stop out
Yep,
of
that's
Australia
it.
into Georgia.
Yeah,
Wow.
Nice
Okay.
and easy.
Awesome. All right, let's see where we're going. Okay, where's this?
So this is Tbilisi. This is the capital. This is where most people would start their journey when travelling to Georgia.
Yeah.
And Tbilisi, it's really beautiful, as you can obviously see here.
Yeah.
It's this perfect blend between, it's one of those cities where you've got synagogues, Zoroastrian temples, cathedrals, mosques, all sort of blending together with no issues from the multi religions.
Uh-huh.
It's actually the only place in Europe as well where Armenians, Azerbaijanis and Georgians all live peacefully together.
All right. Okay. And is that sort of as big as the city gets, like in terms of high-rise buildings and stuff? Is it a small city, or is this?
It's a growing city. So this is the old town in this picture here.
Yeah.
So just sort of across further, you start to see more your modern high-rises, a few things that are lit up in LED lights, a bit Dubai looking.
Yeah.
But there's very few at the moment.
Great.
So this is also just in the old town, just having a bit of a walk through to see how beautiful the architecture is and that there's such a different blend. You can see there's a bit of Islamic architecture there, as well as a bit more of your kind of colonial-ish style.
Yeah.
But there's also, so where this picture is just sort of to the left is a spa. So there's a lot of sort of thermal areas through Georgia as well.
Is that like a hot spring?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
yeah, and you can go in and have your spa treatments. And again, because of that blend of culture and religion in this area, you can get your like hammam type treatments in Georgia as well.
Okay. Awesome. And speaking of blends, are we drinking from
We
a
are.
blend?
Cheers.
What is
So
this?
this is actually a Georgian white wine from the Svaneti region, which we'll go through shortly. So the Svaneti region's up in the northern part
Mm-hmm.
of Georgia, and it's quite a traditional region, and the Svans themselves still blend their own type of wine.
Very good. That's quite nice. Not bad for breakfast. Okay, all right. So I do know you a bit. I know you're a bit of a crazy cat lady.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, there was a cat.
This is the famous
And-
cat of Tbilisi.
Yeah, it's a bit skinny,
Yeah.
but I was trying to be quick. The cat's blurry, obviously. He was moving quickly. I was just trying to get, a beautiful Georgian cat picture, which sort of didn't really work.
I think you've done quite well. Those looks like roses in that pot to the left. Are
Yeah.
there roses everywhere through the city? Is it are there great gardens or?
They're not gardens as such, not like a botanical type garden, but there is a lot of greenery and pots with beautiful trees and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But interestingly, right behind where I took this picture is a Greek Orthodox church,
Uh-huh.
and then above that wall is a cathedral. So again, just that blend of the different religions, literally everywhere in
Without
Tbilisi.
any obvious tension of any kind.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that
So-
looks like behind that wall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you might even be able to find that cat somewhere down the bottom.
Okay. keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, but you know the architecture's beautiful.
Yeah, it
As you
is.
can see, that greenery again.
Yeah.
It's just a really really beautiful city. When we were there, our guide actually said to us that it's kind of like a blend of Munich mixed with a bit of Vienna, mixed with a bit of well, I guess all those sort of former,
The Soviet.
not Soviet, but I guess the further west of the eastern countries,
Okay.
like a bit of a Bratislava,
Oh yeah,
Slovenia type feel.
it's really beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah. You might need to explain this one. I'm not sure what we're actually looking at there. What have you done there?
So I haven't done anything except get out of my vehicle and take a picture as instructed by our guide.
Oh.
So this is actually the mother of Georgia. So if you think back to
Wow.
that very first photo that we saw of Tbilisi with the castle on the skyline.
Yeah, and the cable car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is up there on the top of the hill overlooking Tbilisi. So this is a statue it's actually made of aluminium, and it was built to commemorate the 1500th anniversary of Georgia. And the mother of Georgia is basically a figure to, I guess, show the national character of the country. So in one hand, she's got wine in the bowl. Traditional wine was drunk out of a
Yeah.
ceramic bowl.
Yeah.
And in the other hand, which is what's making the picture look a bit.
Oh, I thought that might have been the father of Georgia.
No, that's actually a sword. That's a sword in her other hand for when the enemies come.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Wine and protection.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes.
Oh right. Okay. Again, yeah. Unexpected. What's going on here? Yeah.
So this is in the National Museum of Georgia. It's actually a really amazing museum to visit. It's certainly something that you must do on your sort of first few days within Georgia before you start venturing outside of Tbilisi. It's really, really well done. It's recently been completely renovated, and it's over four stories.
Right.
The most interesting is the basement level, which is actually the archaeological level, which has all sorts of things dating back to, I think it goes all the way back to 5 BC,
Wow.
things that have been found in Georgia, and every floor has something different. So this floor is all about the, I guess the more native and nature-based side of the country. It's a whole floor filled with taxidermy, everything.
Right.
Some of it a little bit disturbing, some of it quite amazing. This is obviously a wax model.
Early human.
Early human.
Yeah.
But they also have a whole floor dedicated to when Georgia was part of the USSR
Okay.
and coming out of that sort of Soviet period. So really, really interesting to show all the different tiers of the history that Georgia's gone through in its transformation, and so much of that being quite recent as well.
Yeah. Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another cat.
Yeah.
Just cute, you know.
Yeah, he's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit healthy.
What's he
looking.
curled up around? Looks like a statue.
Yeah,
or
it was around a
something.
bronze statue. I think it was actually a statue of a dog. I wasn't interested in the dog.
that'd be right.
Just wanted the cat.
That would be right. That'd be right. Oh my goodness! It does. It looks like sort of Munich or something, as you said, like
Yeah,
a
well,
sort of fairy tale.
This isn't Tbilisi. So
Oh,
this
okay.
is,
Where are we now?
yeah, so this is getting out. So this is in a town called Mishketa, and this is really the religious centre of Georgia. So it is quite touristy, as you can tell from the little pop-up stalls there.
Sure. Okay.
But it is very fairy tale-like to walk through. It's got a huge castle as well, which you get to go into the grounds of, beautiful cathedrals, monasteries as well. So monasteries are a huge, I guess, architectural point that you'll see throughout the entirety of Georgia.
Mhm.
And I've got some pictures further on, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about the monasteries there, because they are quite special. But this is a really, really magical place to start exploring beyond Tbilisi. Whilst touristy, it does have a certain charm about it.
And how far from Tbilisi is this?
It's about 2.5 hours, not too far.
Okay.
So you could do it on a day trip.
Okay.
Most people use it as a stopover point to continue further north.
Okay. And on your trips, do you stay in this town?
We stop
Your
here to
journeys?
go here in the morning.
Yeah.
We have lunch here and then we keep going. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, so I initially thought they were chilies.
Okay.
Are they candles or something? What are they?
No, they're not candles.
Are they a lolly?
So these things are everywhere in Georgia.
Right.
Sometimes they look a little bit,
Phallic?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I guess that's probably the correct word.
Mhm.
But what they actually are, they're dried fruit, so they're kind of like our roll-ups, so compressed
yeah.
fruit.
Yeah.
But inside them, they've got different nuts. So some of them have cashews, some of them have pistachios, and some of them have like dates inside them as well. So it's basically compressed fruit around nuts.
They sound delicious.
They are delicious, yep, and every colour's a different flavour, different fruits obviously,
Yeah.
and they're everywhere. They're just a traditional snack.
So a great snack to bring with you while you're travelling around.
Yeah, great for long road journeys.
Cheap?
Just
Couple of
yeah,
dollars?
cheap, not even.
Oh, great.
Not even. Probably for one, you probably pay around 30 cents.
Okay, yum.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, those dumplings would be very nervous if I was around. Okay. They look amazing.
Yeah.
So is this traditionally Georgian?
It is. So those dumplings are a traditional Georgian food.
Because they look like,
Khinkali is what they're called.
right, but they look like those Shanghai dumplings you get in China, like a
They're-
little soup dumpling.
They are pretty much exactly the same. So they do
Wow.
have the soup inside, like the ones that you get in Shanghai.
Okay.
But these ones also have more, the Shanghai ones are, prawn and pork
Yeah.
or whatever, whereas these have more onions and spices and
Yum.
a bit more of a Georgian flavour to the meat that's added in there. But you can get anything, beef, pork, chicken.
Okay, and lots of salad.
Lots of salad, lots of olives, lots of cheese.
Okay.
Georgia, you can see sort of cheese sprinkled almost on
Yes.
all of the other dishes.
Yeah.
So very heavy dairy-based diet in Georgia. But yeah, those dumplings.
Lots of yogurt. Is it that sort of?
Not so much
Cuisine
yogurt,
thing?
it's more cheese.
Okay.
Everything comes with cheese, bread with cheese, melted
Nothing-
cheese, melted cheese on everything.
It sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah.
And is that just tea? Is this regular
That's
tea?
just normal tea, yeah.
And this would be a typical lunch.
That was our typical lunch, yes, that was our lunch for the day, and
Yum.
very filling, very filling.
Yummo. Okay. Where are we now?
So this is just a little bit further on, so moving more away from Tbilisi, but I threw this slide in because this is pretty much the architecture of what a typical monastery looks like in Georgia. You see them everywhere. You can get a little bit monastried out depending on what your itinerary is and what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but every single one of them, whilst they look similar externally, internally they're completely different.
Right.
They've all been restored to different levels, and they have some really fascinating stories, especially once you get quite remote. I think it might actually be the next photo that I've got in there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Let's go.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So is the
Okay.
interior.
Yeah.
So what's really, really fascinating and about this one in particular is during the Soviet occupation of Georgia, you weren't allowed to have you couldn't express any kind of religion or anything like that. So
Mhm.
these are all pre-Soviet era artworks. And so what they did is actually plastered over the top of all the inside of their monasteries. And it wasn't until, it's not even that long ago, since obviously post-1996 with the fall of the Soviet era, but when tourism started to pick up and, a lot of these sites were being restored,
Mm.
they started to chip away at this plaster, and some of the monasteries that are so remote, people didn't even know that there were these paintings
Beneath the
behind
plaster.
the plaster.
Uh-huh.
And the plaster had preserved them quite well. So this one is in the process of being restored, but you can still see the colours are pretty vivid.
Yeah.
And they just have these incredible stories about having to hide and fake, that they weren't practicing religion, and that there were no artifacts or paintings or anything here, and it was just a bland interior. Really, really beautiful, and certainly makes the monasteries of Georgia different to other monasteries that you see in the surrounding countries as well.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Any idea how old this one might be?
You're testing me now. I think it was somewhere around like late 1700s or
Right.
1800s, so a couple of hundred years.
Nice. Okay.
So
Out in
this
the
is-
countryside?
Yeah, this is a gypsy wagon.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so gypsy wagons dot the countryside everywhere, and the gypsy people still live in them.
So was a family living in that one?
So this one was on the side of the road near where we had a bit of a bathroom break, and while my group were, doing their thing, I just went for a bit of a walk with my camera, and I thought, I'll just have a bit of a look, and to me it looked like it was abandoned, which it definitely wasn't.
Okay, right.
Because I sort of walked around a little bit further, and I went sort of 2 runs up on the stairs, and this big burly man under this hand-woven blanket started to stir a little bit, and I bolted out of there quick smart.
Right.
So you'll see everywhere in Georgia, there are these gypsy wagons sort of dotted along the freeways, and generally around them they'll either have beehives or fish that they've caught from the river that they're drying, or fruits that they've grown on their orchards, and they're kind of just nomadic. They move around to try and sell their produce. Really awesome to have a chat to if you use your guide to translate, because they generally don't speak English. But to hear about what it's like living in these sorts of old school caravans, I
Yeah.
guess you could say,
Yeah.
is really interesting. Generally what they do is they go and live out in one of these in the summer, and then they return home to their families for the winter.
Right. So they're not. I mean, I don't know much about gypsies. I don't think Australians really
No,
do
we don't.
in particular.
Yeah.
And I would imagine they're quite reclusive, but then they're not necessarily. Like you can, with your guide, you can.
Yeah, especially if they're selling something, because
Oh.
obviously it's business for them. But this guy was obviously having an afternoon nap.
And so they're
Which I've
traveling.
interrupted.
Some of them are traveling around with beehives.
So they generally just sort of park themselves in one location for a couple of months.
Let the bees do their thing.
Yeah, and if it's not working for them, they'll move on.
Wow. Unreal. Oh wow. What is this?
Yes. So this is the Svaneti region. This is really the draw card for travelling in Georgia. So this is up in the north of the country, where it's quite mountainous, as you can see from the background.
Yeah.
And this is where our wine is
Ah,
from.
yeah. Happy days.
Yes, cheers. And so the Svaneti region, there's a couple of ways you can do it. To really get the most out of your time in this area, the best way is to hike. You can sort of see at the bottom of this picture there's a few wildflowers.
Mhm.
So depending on what month, so this was July, will depend on what type of wildflowers you get. So if you go earlier in the season, so May and June, all of the fields are just like blanketed in rhododendrons.
Wow.
And then you come to July and you get the more sort of diverse colours and types of wildflowers. And then from sort of August onwards, the wildflowers disappear.
Beautiful.
So from a natural perspective, it is just so stunning. And if you go on foot, you basically trek from village to village. And you know, some of them it's a good 20 k's between village. Some of them don't have roads that connect them.
Mhm.
For people who are not active, there are some of the larger villages which are connected by roads, so you can sort of bump along on very, very poor roads just to be able to see some of those villages.
Mhm.
But of course the ones that are connected by roads do get more travellers to them than the ones on
Right.
foot.
Is this
So-
one that you can drive to?
Not really,
Okay.
no. You can sort of get to the bottom of the valley, but not
Okay.
right up to...
And what's with all the towers?
So those towers are actually former watchtowers. So that used
Everyone
to be...
was watching everyone.
Yeah, pretty much. So it was basically looking for the enemy coming in to
Coming down
approach.
the valley or.
Yeah, exactly. So you can still access, all the watchtowers are actually owned by the families who live in the
Uh-huh.
village.
Yeah.
So some of them will take you into the lower parts of the watchtowers just so that you know you can have a look. There's not much in there. They're all pretty abandoned or they're filled with feed for cattle or something like
yeah,
that.
Very practical.
Yeah, but they certainly make for incredible scenery. So this is the village of Adishi.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning. So we were walking, we started in Mestia and we went hiking, and this was the first village that we actually stopped at. So we couldn't see this. We came over a ridge and then this was literally what was in front of us. So we were like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Photo stop.
Amazing.
Yes.
I don't know what I was expecting from Georgia,
Yes.
but it wasn't this really.
Yeah. See, I've travelled a lot, and I would have to say that the natural beauty of Georgia far surpasses, the likes of Switzerland and
Wow.
Bhutan. For me, it's number one in terms
Wow.
of natural beauty because of this region. It's just, you can't take a bad photo. It's beautiful.
And what time of year were you there?
So this is July, so this is smack bang in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
So
hot?
whilst it was sweltering in the cities, like very, very humid, up in the mountains it was really quite nice. So we're not at altitude or anything here.
Uh-huh.
So we're not dealing with any of those challenges, but
Okay.
it's really pleasant temperature for walking.
Looks divine.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
More. It does. I'm expecting Julie Andrews and some blonde kids to.
Yeah, well, no, we
Start
didn't see
singing.
any children, but yeah, certainly snow-capped peaks, and it did feel very much like a Sound of Music type scene, but just even more beautiful.
Just those wildflowers.
It's the
divine.
wildflowers make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is walking out of one of the villages, just sort of looking at it from, I guess, an on-the-ground perspective. So a lot of these villages do have waterfalls and streams.
Okay. So there's a stream running through here.
Yeah, and they're pure mountain water.
Uh-huh.
So you can fill your drink bottles up, safely drink the water. And the reason that I've included this picture is that house, smack bang in the middle.
Yeah.
There are houses like that everywhere, ripe for renovation. So for anyone who's
Do
got
a
like
wrapper.
wants to bring their
Mhm.
hammer and a paintbrush,
Mhm.
but yeah, if you've got that sort of brand design type eye,
Great place for you.
yeah. And I said to our guide, how much would a house like that go for? She said, I don't know, $13,000.
Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah, nice. So do you
Yeah.
walk through these villages?
So we
Do
stayed-
you stop for lunch or something, or you stayed here?
yeah, so we stayed in this village. So we stayed in a guest house
Okay.
with a family, and that is our accommodation in all of these villages, is guest houses with local families.
Wow.
So they prepare all our food and everything for us. We go out with them early in the morning when they're milking their cows.
Okay.
It's I guess it's kind of like a homestay type experience, but a little bit more sort of civilised in terms of, you know, there's hot water at most of the guest houses sometimes. It's
What a luxury.
it's all about living with the locals really,
Yeah.
but it's an amazing experience.
Okay,
Yeah.
Having a little rest.
That's just me kicking back, taking in that view. It's just
Okay. You're taking pics in the flowers.
I think I was just lying down actually.
Okay. It's really beautiful.
It
It's
is.
crazy.
It is.
Okay, some horse riding.
Yeah. So
Is there a glacier in the background?
it is.
Yeah.
So in the middle of July, obviously it's the peak of summer, despite the fact that it's not sweltering up here in the mountains.
Mhm.
But those glaciers are everywhere in this region. The one in the background there is one of the largest.
Mhm.
And whilst you're trekking through here, you can just hear that sort of that echo of the crack
Yeah.
and the rumble as it's starting to melt during the summer. So in the winter months, the water in this river is not as high as what it is in this picture.
Mhm.
Whilst it doesn't seem too high, it's only up to the horse's ankles.
Mhm.
It does move quite quickly. So that is the melting glacier rushing past us. So we couldn't walk across it. So there's locals there with their horses, who for about the cost of 50 cents
Like, ferry you across.
ferry you across the
Oh,
river.
So good.
So just another experience to add to, you know, the beauty of the area.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
that glacier
Wow.
up close.
I had no idea there were glaciers in Georgia.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's beautiful. And so you can imagine in the height of winter that would be probably double that size.
Yeah. Wow.
Again, just those wildflowers everywhere.
Okay, so you've headed out for a morning chore.
Yeah, so this is just at one of the guest houses, just the locals getting the morning milk, getting prepared to make our breakfast for us.
Make some cheese, maybe.
Make some cheese,
Yeah.
make some curd, feed the village.
Yeah.
So a lot of the villages as well, because they're inaccessible, some of them are inaccessible by road, they do a lot of trade between themselves. So some people will have cows and they'll share the milk around, others will have chickens and they'll share the eggs around.
So a proper sort of barter
Yeah.
economy.
Very, very old world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, is this coffee? What is
No.
that?
No, they're actually wild cherries.
Oh.
So trekking through the Svaneti region, there's all sorts of different, I guess you could call it bush food
Yeah.
or mountain food,
Yeah.
for you to snack on as you're trekking for a bit of extra
Yeah.
sustenance.
Yeah.
So there are two guides there. These are the wild cherries that they picked for us to snack off as we walked along.
And?
Very sour,
Uh-huh.
quite bitter. Not the sweet juicy cherries that we get here,
Yeah.
but yeah, something a bit different.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
Oh, those towers are amazing.
Yeah, so this is an even older village, so you can obviously see by the architecture that the houses are just stone,
Yeah.
literally.
There's another door upper just here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few, and a lot of these are abandoned as well. So, but just beautiful. And
Yeah.
that watchtower right on the top
Yeah.
in the distance, that's actually a museum.
Oh.
So you can go in there and learn about the Svaneti region and when it was under attack quite some time ago, and what all the watchtowers mean and that sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ah. So that's you, right?
That's
your
me.
feet.
That's
You were taking that photo in that previous.
I was
Photo?
I was lying down.
Yeah.
Oh, taking this photo.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. But yes, that is me kicking back,
Oh, it just
enjoying
looks
my
divine.
time in Georgia.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I imagine lots of bees zipping around in there.
Yeah, you can certainly hear the buzz. Lots of butterflies as well,
Oh wow.
and also lady beetles. There were lady beetles everywhere. So
just to add a sprinkle of perfection.
yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that a little bit more magic to
Yeah.
the already magical mountains.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Seriously. Look at that view.
Every day it just gets better and better. So this was our last day of trekking, and we literally
How
followed.
many days of trekking did you do?
So we do 5 days of trekking.
Yeah.
So this is our last day, and we literally followed this river all the way up and just sort of around the valley around in there.
Are you accompanied there by a very nice dog?
We did have a dog
Yeah.
who decided to join us, a golden retriever from one of the villages.
Beautiful.
But around in the next valley was another huge glacier
Okay.
where we sort of climbed on top of a rock and had a picnic lunch and
Beautiful.
just took it all in.
And how difficult's the trekking? I mean, it kind of looks like walking, mountain walking. Is it? Does it get difficult?
It does get difficult because the steep parts are steep. I mean, it's not slippery or anything like that. It is a little bit gritty. So I would say anyone with a regular level of fitness could do it.
Okay.
But they need to be able to go up and down with, good knees and that sort of thing.
That is an amazing photo.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Wow. Okay. Incredible journey. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good job.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed discovering Georgia with us, and coincidentally that is actually the name of the tour that you just did with us, Discover Georgia. So be sure to click on the notification bell to make sure that you're aware every time we upload a new video. Like, share, comment on the video. We'd love to hear what places you'd love us to take you to, and don't forget to head to our website www.crooked-compass.com. See you next time.